Alrighty guys, in today's video we're going to be looking at the lineal positioning for the CAD feature, and this will be for FabriCAM software. But before that, let's have a quick intro first. So today's video can be found on softwaretraining.co.za. We make short and easy to watch problem solving videos, and we also have daily updates. Otherwise, we're into the program here. So now the previous one we looked at the single positioning, which is the first one. Now we're going to look at the lineal positioning, which is right next to it. And that'll pretty much be placing your shape in a line with equal spacing and that of your choosing. Now you can also adjust the angle of the line, which is convenient, so you can get some interesting results with this. So this is also great if you have to make a lot of holes next to each other at the same distance. Then you'll use this one to quickly get the right result. So what I'm going to do is select the cube. It's going to make it 100 by 100. And I'm going to leave the origin to center, seeing that most of the other shapes working on center. I'll work around that so that it's something familiar throughout all of them. I'll say OK, and then next up, now what I want to do is go to the linear positioning, select that, and then click on the canvas. Now as we can see here, we've got a few different settings we can set, and on the right here we've got a little preview trying to explain to us what these settings do. Now there's a few things that's important to note, but I'll point it out shortly. So on our settings, the first thing we have is X and Y. So when we did the single positioning, that's pretty much all it had. So this will be the starting point. Where is this first thing going to be? X or Y, so I'm going to leave the 0, 0. It's a good base start. Then we've got here the AX, which if I go here, we can see it shows these two little lines between two shapes. So this is the distance between them. But it is important to understand or remember that it's not the distance between the shapes, but the distance between their centers and the shape. So it's very quickly you might think, oh, it's just a spacing. So we know our shape was 100. So if I go here 100, and then what will end up happening is it will put these middle lines right on each other, because our spacing from year to year is 100, and our shapes is 100. That means we've got a 50 and a 50, so they're going to touch. So what I'll rather do is I'll go 200, so then I'll have 100 spacing in the middle, so it will look a little bit better. And then next up we have A for the angle. This is going to be the amount of degrees. I'm going to leave this one at 0, so that it's just going to be a straight horizontal one. You can obviously go 90 if you want to go straight up, but I'm going to leave that. And then let's put the amounts next to each other. I'm going to put maybe about 3 next to each other. So now we should have on 0 in the middle of our shape, it's going to be a square, 100 spacing between those two shapes, another square, and then it repeats. So we have 3 of those shapes, because the N over here, like I mentioned, is for the number of parts we want to add. So let's say OK, and we see what we've got, and there we go. So if I go take my mouse here on the center, we have 0, or at least we should have if I'm zoomed in enough. And then we've got 100 spacing, another shape, 100 spacing, another shape. But like I said, this is a very convenient tool if you want equal spacing and shapes next to each other without manually having to place one at a time using the single positioning. But yeah, otherwise that is it on the linear positioning. A very handy tool in my opinion. So definitely get familiar with it. Otherwise though, before we move on, if we go to softwaretraining.co.za, you guys will notice we've got a variety of different softwares we do cover, and you can also isolate your search here on the top right. If you do not, however, find the training videos you're looking for, just simply go here, request the training video, fill in the mini form, and then we'll do our best to try and make that for you. But otherwise, thanks guys for watching, and cheers.